Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a Q&A with the Catalina Film Festival, and we have the pleasure of speaking with Pat McGee today. And Pat is the director and executive producer of the film called Deported. And this film is about families. It's highlighting family stories and their struggles with deportation. Rob Young is joining me today, and Rob is an artist, a music artist, and he has done a music video called Excuse My Accent. And Excuse My Accent is a movement which highlights our cultural differences and also pinpoints some of the struggles that people are having with immigration. I felt it was really important to have him join us today because his organization is currently working with another organization that helps deported veterans. And as crazy as that might sound, it's true. Veterans do get deported. So we felt that I felt that Rob would bring a lot to this conversation, and I'm glad to have you both. So let's get started talking about Pat's film. Rob, would you like to start?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, your film was absolutely exceptional. We could tell that you poured a lot into it. We would love to know what was the inspiration behind the film. What was the point from that idea that you really had to flesh it out?
You know, it's a great question, Robert. And you know, I'm completely honored to be here with you. I'm excited to see some of your work. And when we talk about The Deported, it really is. I'm just one person of many talented filmmakers that put this together. So I kind of represent a collective. And you know, there's this really started with a couple of people from Green Couch Productions, and Green Couch Productions was it's Paul and Scott and T. Gordon Stanley, and these guys had uncovered what was going on. You know, they identified this issue, this problem, and they really wanted to follow this. And so I kind of came into it as a partner, being the director and one of the EPs. And once they told me about this project and the access that they were getting, I was completely, clearly as a filmmaker and a storyteller, attracted to this, and just, you know, honored to be able to tell these stories. You know, one of the biggest things is once you get the access and the trust, you're kind of off to the races. And that's what happened here. There's just so many, you know, people that worked on this to make it happen. And, you know, uncovering these stories is difficult. And T. Gordon Stanley worked with a lot of immigration attorneys across the country to figure out who we could tap into. And one of the things is, the hardest thing is identifying these stories and people that are going to be willing to kind of share their story. I mean, let's remember, these people have a target on their back.
You basically, like you said, you accomplished highlighting someone in almost every, you know, area of the country, you know, from the East Coast to Texas out to California, which we were really impressed by. What was your time span that you filmed over?
And I'm assuming that I think every case was a little different. We try to identify when there was going to be a critical moment in their case in terms of a hearing.
Sure.
Or a time to, you know, self-deport. So those were all factors that we took into consideration. We basically filmed for about a year, and
okay.
You know, we would do check-ins. You know, it wasn't nonstop, but you know, I mean, we would shoot something and then 3 months go back.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think it was all so crazy because you didn't know when it was going to happen. There are people that were targeted for deportation that could have been scooped up any day, and there are other people that were waiting for a court date. And there were other people that we had, you know, invested a lot of time in, like I said before, and they just disappeared, or you know, their case ended, and we didn't get to do it. And that's what's, you know, I can't be any more honored to be able to go out and tell their stories, because every time I'm out there, I'm just blown away. It's like, why in God's name is our country wasting this amount of time and money and causing hate? I mean, Are you kidding me? We got bigger fish to fry.
Right.
I mean, it's like you're trying to deport this young lady who's been in Texas, who's been here since she was 6 months old.
Mhm.
I mean, come on. I mean,
So I'm going to apologize and interrupt for just one quick second and acknowledge Delious for joining us today. I'm really pleased to see you. Thank you so much. Delious is actually one of the founders of the Catalina Film Festival. And when he saw that you were going to be in my schedule, Pat, he was like, please let me join. And he and Robert have also worked together prior. So thank you for joining us.
that's awesome. I thank you so much for getting us into the Catalina Film Festival. I mean, it's a tough year, but I was so, I'm still excited, but I mean, it's like you guys are doing a great job. And I can't wait to see Catalina Film Festival grow and get bigger and bigger.
Very hard to curate a program when you get, so many hundreds of films in one category that you've got to narrow down to maybe 5, and
right.
So.
Okay, Rob, so you had a question, and if you would go ahead with that.
Yeah, I mean, piggybacking on what you said earlier, as far as diving into the stories of your subjects and the people who are involved in the film, on your website, you said that you aim to give a voice to the voiceless while staying true to the art of storytelling. And you did an amazing job humanizing these stories while at the same time putting in that voice of the system. So my question is how did you find that balance so you could tell that story, the whole story in a true form while still having it be very humanistic?
Yeah, I think that the most important thing is, as a storyteller, especially in the documentary space, is to follow the story. And as a filmmaker and a storyteller, there are restraints that we have inside that we need to free up and let people have their space to tell their story and not have it be, my story. I know I'm going out as a filmmaker and I want to get this and I know how to put together a story. But at the end of the day, it's not my story, it's their story. And you need to honor that. And that's the most important.
We wanted to know, how did you get ICE and Homeland Security to agree to film with you? I mean, we just found that super interesting, and the fact that you and your crew were able to do a ride along with them, that was pretty phenomenal. So if please tell us that story and how you guys were able to get in with that.
Honestly, when you said you and your crew is a really good point, because it's really difficult to get any access like that, as you know. And it's a great question, and I mean, my guys, I have there was an amazing producer, Carol Cutton, and then another amazing Carol Groner, and she was producing with me, and we said it would be great if we get ICE. And it was almost kind of like, yeah, it'd be great if we get ICE. It's never going to happen, right?
Sure.
And I'll be the first to admit, saying I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm like, Carol, you can try. Carol, you can try. I have 2 Carols. You guys go for it. And they kept plugging away. They kept doing it. They kept putting in the calls. They, cutting through all that bureaucracy and then actually getting a yes. I was surprised as anyone. And I had such mixed feelings. We met at some place in Los Angeles on the side of a highway. It was 4 a.m. And they said, we're it's going to be me and my DP. So I'm in the back. My DP, Mike Goodman, super talented, as you can see. And then he's in the front seat. We're doing the ride along. There's a shot in there. It's a wide shot. It's probably 20 people, right? There's 20 people with bulletproof vests. They told me, you're going to have to wear a bulletproof vest. This is very dangerous. We get there, they didn't have a bulletproof vest for me. I mean, it's but come on. I mean, I'm talking just honestly here. There's 20 people in this clandestine mission with bulletproof vests to roll up on this guy who's getting ready to go to work at 5:30 in the morning. It blew my mind. I was, the cause for this was, to me, just as a normal person, I was blown away. I'm like, what are we doing? We just spent all this money and time to get that guy with his wife, which we couldn't film, but she's in the kitchen crying. Then we take him in and spend a whole day processing him to deport him.
Right.
And he's going out to go work a job. It frustrates me
Right. Do you think maybe there was maybe some extra manpower because they knew there would be a camera crew? Just a little bit curious about that. I mean, obviously it was overkill for the situation, but it's I'm wondering if they were showboating a little bit.
I don't know. It almost seems like they would go the other direction. I don't know. I mean, maybe they were showboating. I have no idea. I just, in my interpretation, when I got there, I was like, wow, this is a lot of manpower to take out this 68-year-old guy that's getting ready to go to work,
Right.
I mean, but
what do you want your audience to come away with? What is your call to action?
I think the call to action for the Deported is to realize that, these are human beings with real lives, and they're part of our community. And we need to understand that. We need to get past the headlines. We need to get past the statistics. And I think when people get to see this and they get to meet these families and they get to see that, look, I'm not saying, the law is the law. We get that. But you know what? Laws were made to change. And, films like this can send that message. If people watch this and say, like, yeah, why are we deporting these people? What do we have to gain by getting rid of these people?
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you really look at the economics of the issue, once you start deporting, this workforce, are you kidding me?
I'm going to leave the last question to Rob, and then we'll wrap it up. So.
Yeah, actually, with saying that, there was a moment in the film where someone said that the safest place for an undocumented person is in the public eye. And honoring what you're doing, did you ever feel like, as a filmmaker, that you were supporting that with these undocumented human beings, that you were assisting in getting their story out so they can be safer and have a path to citizenship?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to tell their story, but at some point it does become empowering because, when you bring a camera, that's power.
Right.
We're not making money on that, and we know as filmmakers we're not going to make money. So, well, I mean, that's true.
Why we make commercials. That's why we make commercials, because that pays the bills.
I mean, it's like, I can't say enough about film festivals like Catalina Film Festival, because most films never get seen. I mean, Deported had a platform. We're going to be seen on YouTube Originals and be seen all over the place. But we, without film festivals, where do 95% of the films go? So.
Pat, thank you so much for making such an important film. We are really grateful to have you here with us at the Catalina Film Festival, and we're only sorry that we can't do it, in person. But you just made an excellent film. The storytelling was succinct and it was shot beautifully, and we're very proud to have it on our docket this year. So, and I want to thank Rob for joining us. You guys need to go check out his video, Excuse My Accent. You can find it on YouTube. Just type in Excuse My Accent and it should come up for you. And then there'll be links there to the website and the other work that Rob is doing. So, and Delious, thank you again for joining us. Delious is one of the founders of the Catalina Film Festival, and he is also a member of a band that you guys may have heard of called All for One. But thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us today, and we're just really grateful to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And just one more, this film really was a collection of a lot of talented people, and I always feel weird when someone says you. So thank you so much. But
our pleasure. Okay.